Greetings and welcome to this meditation. This meditation is from The Way of Mastery, a book that we have been studying on Thursday evening, particularly part one, The Way of the Heart. And this is lesson 7, which is called Birthing the Mind of Christ. Each week we have a study and a focus on the lesson and then the meditation in response. These words in this meditation come from the chapter or the lesson 7, with some revisions and adaptations. I call it a story for our times. But as we begin and engage this meditation, I would invite you to sit comfortably in some way, in a chair, on a couch. You may even lie down if you like. Some people even walk about when they're on meditation. But I am suspecting that you are sitting or lying down. And if you could just gently close your eyes and apply your attention on your breath. Breathing deeply in through the nose, very slowly, softly, and gently. No rush or hurry. Bringing your breath down, down into the belly, in the lower belly, in the pelvic bowl between the hips. And then holding it there, resting your breath, then allowing it to come back up. And on the exhale, very slowly, moving it up and out the nose. Even a longer space of time on the out breath. And keep a cadence and rhythm with your breath that is important to you. It's comfortable to you. But allow your breath to bring you into this now time, the present moment, the continually unfolding present moment of the eternal now. And when you're in this now time, the past and the future do not exist. And if you are taken off track and you go into the past or the present or the future, or your thoughts or your experiences or your focus, just gently come back to your breath and your breathing. And I would suspect that by now you are comfortable. You're coming into a calmness and a peace. Some distractions, but always come back to your breath and breathing. And your breath is spirit, yours and the divine's. And as you breathe, remaining in the present moment, allowing peace to settle over you, raising your vibration, elevating your consciousness, coming into connection with your true self and all the higher beings around you, ready, willing, and able to be of assistance. And listen to this story for our times. There is an ancient forest somewhere on your planet, a forest high in a rugged mountain valley, so rugged that no one has ever been there. Unknown to the minds of humanity, life goes on in the forest. Deep within the heart of this forest, a little tiny blade of grass. is tossed by an unseen wind. And as it is tossed for just a fragment of a moment, so subtle and soft was this wind that as the sunlight played against this blade of grass, it cast the smallest of conceivable shadows on a stone that lay just a little bit away from the blade of grass. No one noticed. The shadows had no effect. The rock didn't even notice. No one on the planet noticed. Not anyone in any of the heavens noticed except me. I needed something to build a story around that tiny shadow cast by a little blade of grass momentarily, wiggled in a wind in some remote forest, has virtually no effect on the turning of the planets, the creation of new suns, and certainly not one trace of effect on how deeply you are loved. That little shadow is what you have given power to, and it seems to be able to obstruct the truth within you from being lived. For the moment, you gave that little tiny shadow power, and that very moment, in that very moment, fear was born. Fear is always a contraction away from love, and fear makes you smaller than the blade of grass that momentarily seems to cast a shadow, and therefore obstructs your recognition of the warmth of the sun that bathes you always. When you resist healing by giving into fear and remaining in the shadow cast by that blade of grass, resisting healing in these ways, you may rest assured that something has occurred just prior to that. And it is your decision to believe that the shadow is all powerful. And that if you heal, if you grow, if you change, if you let Christ consciousness live in you, that little blade of grass and the little tiny shadow it creates for a very temporary moment will come and punish you and crush you. Is that not absurd? If you can truly take this story into your being and recognize the utter laughability of such a belief, the belief that something could harm you, you will never again give in to fear. You will never again allow fear to master you and direct the course of your life. You will indeed learn what it means to trust what is birthed within the heart. You will arise and you will go forth without fear, with no story or drama at all. You will accomplish whatever creativity wishes to express through you, and the whole while you'll know that of yourself you do nothing, but the Creator performs and accomplishes and creates through you. Creator can do anything. And this is what you are a part of, creative source. Therefore, indeed, what forms of the shadow of that blade of grass are you allowing to run and own and possess your soul? There are many forms of that shadow, are there not? So many people to please and expectations to live up to. There are other people you care for before yourself, perhaps because you believe they are more valuable than you and you must please them. There are financial burdens and bills to pay, a painful past you cannot live beyond, and an unlived future you anticipate with dread and anxiety. There are others who behave toward you in hurtful and discomforting ways, and you also represent yourself in ways that are disturbing. And then there are emotions and feelings and thoughts and sensations that plague you, and the pains and hurts and wounds and illnesses and diseases and complexes that you either have or are fearful of having. So much burdensome that it is overwhelming, and you feel shame. You feel alone and empty and trapped, longing for some sense of freedom and release. Can you see how these matters come from fear and not love? They come from the shadow. It's a very small shadow cast by a little tiny blade of grass. Such a small thing. You must know, you must know this. Love created you. Love has been birthed within you as an individual, at least within the dance of time and space. There is a power to choose, the power to feel, the power to know, the power to channel light and love, the power to know that something exists within you and as you, the great power of love. That is what love has done, and it has done it for you always. And has fear ever created such beauty, even remotely like that? So, what do you want? Creation or mimicry? Peace or the ability to simply drug yourself with triviality and mediocrity? All power under heaven and earth is flowing through you with every breath, so that your consciousness witnesses these creations, not what you do as the maker or doer, but that which the divine is doing through you in each moment, so that you get to marvel at the creativity of love, the very same love that moves the sun and the moon and other stars. And when your life, this one life, the life that you live wholly, when you give it all to being only the presence of love, you know that the whole of creation is waiting to move through you, and you want to be aware of that. You may say, I want my experience, my lived consciousness, to be blissfully absorbed in observing the flow of love through this mystery of life. And when you are in that place of true surrender, heaven and earth will move to become your servant. And love, true love, will begin to flow unimpeded, uninterrupted into all of the areas of your life. One little shadow cast by a tiny blade of grass is all that seems to prevent you from knowing that you are love. So now you know what the shadow is. Perhaps sometimes you even enjoy dancing with it, for you may know nothing other than fear is a driving principle of your life. But the great question remains. It is this: are you going to let the shadow lead, Or are you going to lead yourself? Are you going to be enraptured by fear, consumed by fear? Or are you going to assimilate into the dynamic rhythms and the divine thrust of love? Know even now that you are loved and you are love. The energy and presence of fear is to be diminished and dispelled as you turn away from its disquieting rhythms. Choose love over fear in every aspect of your life. Consent to this now, saying, I choose to release all fear. And in this moment, God, Creator, Spirit, Source, Source consciousness, gods and goddesses, angels and archangels, ascended masters, all beings of highest vibration, and you, as your true self, now assist in removing fear from your body and being and consciousness to the furthest extent that this is allowed and possible, so that love, divine love, the divine love that is in you, may increase immeasurably throughout your entire being, rising up from the center of your spirited beingness, that you may be love, the love that you already are. Let that settle in you. Words from Jeshua ben Joseph to you, because you are that important. You are divine, a divine being. There may be some processing of this experience with energy healing and restoration and renewal and transformation. It may take a few minutes or a few hours or a few days. You may notice things soon, sooner, or later. Feel that love that's in you. Feel it part of you in whatever way you can discern it. And if you can't, that's all right. Know that you have in your core love. And fear is such a small thing, like a tiny blade of grass that shines ever so small on a rock as the light is cast upon it. No, your fear is so very small. Your love is so very large. And hear these final words from Yeshua. And with that, beloved and holy friends, may peace be with you always. And may the truth that is true always shine within your hearts and minds throughout all the ages. And allow yourself now to slowly and gently come back. There is no rush or hurry. You can stay in the position you're in for as long as you want. But as this meditation comes to an end, you may decide to return to the room that you're in, to the life you're living. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.